So why do ugly guys not wear deodorant at the gym? Because they're unsensitized. The speed of that line won't stick. Which, by the way, speed stick. Not really is it palatable? It's actually not even sticky. It's very liquidy. That's the thing about like dry deodorants and gel colored cool deodorant. The colored ones that just feels like you're blobbing on some some phosphorus fucking ranch dressing on your... Nah, that's not good. That's not a good analogy. It feels like you're just wet deodorant just feels like you're applying like wet toothpaste left on a towel that you wiped your face after having a messy brushing session. I think I'm just talking about myself. And by the way, if you don't brush your teeth messingly, like if you don't have Colgate foam or Crest foam just foaming out of your mouth, are you really brushing your teeth good? Like, are you really letting the saliva salivate? Are you really indulging on the potential that toothpaste can have for your teeth? But yeah, typically the wetter the deodorant, it does not last long. So, I guess that's why she nicknames me the wet deodorant speed stick, because, some will stick to you pretty fast. Jesus, that's disgusting. Welcome to episode 170 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. I'm recording this at 1:14 a.m. Eastern on September 15th, 2022. I don't know why I say the dates for the podcast. It doesn't really matter, but I guess for future, when people listen back to this shit 7 years, they will know the exact date and be like, wow, it's the 7-year anniversary where Clint talked about wet deodorant for the opening. Wow. He sure knows how to stick to your mind. Ha ha ha. It's like almost never leave you. No matter how much you get rid of me, you just can't. But the deodorant. By the way, you people really need to start wearing deodorant. And I don't even smell people that well. Anyways. But yeah, don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell on all apps. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. But yeah, some people, I am not a great assessor of smell. Like, I don't know if, I just don't smell things that much anymore. Like, people could fart, all day around me. It doesn't do much for me. It's like a brief thing, okay. It's kind of like when you probably drink, some expired milk in your cereal. You take a bite, this is a little iffy, but whatever. It mixes in well. Fruit Loop. But man, when someone smells I think honestly someone could not shower for 7 days. And if they just apply deodorant moderately on a daily basis, I don't think they would smell that bad. But when someone doesn't apply deodorant, even if they do shower semi-regularly, but they're doing activities, God, that smell is awful. What is it about people smell? There's something about a person who just smells. And I understand, deodorant is this weird thing. Think about deodorant, body wash, and shampoo. It's you feel so used when you pay $6 for a fucking thing of deodorant. And that's with the discount. Because if you get the speed stick bullshit, it's what? Yeah, it's $2, $3. But you literally get what you pay for. Because it will not even stick on for 2 hours. Because I ran out of my Good Deodorant and I had some speed stick. And I literally applied the deodorant right before my workout. And like 40 minutes in, I could smell myself. And I cannot smell myself very well. Like, you typically don't smell yourself well. You don't have actually a good sense of what you smell like, believe it or not. But when you speed stick, you will know what you smell like. It ain't pretty. And that's the thing with these grooming and cleaning products for your body. Like, honestly, like, for the most simplest of shit, they could charge like $9 for the cheapest deodorant, and we have to pay for it. They could charge like $18 for a thing of deodorant, and we would pay for it because we have to. You cannot go around not wearing deodorant. Like, honestly, you know, we have weird laws about public intoxication and weird, like, you could literally get a ticket for literally just walking intoxicated. Imagine if we had tickets for people that smelled egregiously bad. Now, the problem is, it's too much subjectiveness. Because someone can smell great, and some people they don't smell that good. But whatever. But we all know when you have a unanimous bad smell to you. Like, I think that warrants like a $300 ticket. I hate to say it, like, I think that's worse than like driving past a school bus that has the stop signs up, that's, you know, dropping off some kids. Like, I think walking around a public place smelling egregiously is worse than passing by a school bus when it stopped. That deserves a bigger ticket. Because the process of leaving the house knowingly smelling like complete ass, like that, like, you actually have to try hard. You can accidentally spray some Febreze air freshener on your ass and smell better. You cannot do laundry and all your clothes be disgustingly dirty. But if you just dab some cologne and shit, like, yeah, it's not going to smell great, but damn, you can at least not smell bad, like that bad. You know, I can't even think of adjectives to come up with it. But we've all been around. Like, everyone knows someone they work with. Everyone knows when you have to be around people that smell awful and they consistently smell bad with no context for why they smell bad. That's just, when you look like you smell bad and you smell bad, like, you got a lot going against you. But yeah. But I get it, because you know what? These prices for this shit, it's insane. I paid $7 for a fucking Old Spice deodorant. Is it good? Yes. Will it last a good while? Yes. Does it make sure I don't smell like rotten tomatoes? Yes. But I still went out of my way. You know, here's the thing. When you buy things in bulk with a multitude of other items, you're not thinking about it, right? You just throw it in like, oh, whatever, it's $7. But when you actually go to a store to buy one thing and you see the individual price of one thing you buy and not just in a unison of everything you buy collectively, you really start thinking about, I just paid $7 for fucking deodorant. And that shit grinds my titties. And I'm not talking about the ones that feel good. Please grind on my titties. Yeah, you can showboat, motorboat, motorsport. Right, Nikki and Cardi. Because Cardi, be happy, be healthy. And holy shit, the bottom of my toe is disgusting. Those calluses ain't no joke. Oh, Jesus, that's disgusting. Anyways, but when you really like buy something individually, that's a simple product that you just think is like, you don't think nothing of it, and then you buy it and you're like, man, you're pissed off because I went to the store to buy one thing and I spent $7 on something for my fucking armpits. Think about that. I didn't ask to have armpit hair. The Lord and Savior's like, Clint, I'm going to bless you with hair in places that most men don't have a lot of. It's crazy how many men actually don't really have armpit hair. It's crazy how many men actually don't even have chest hair. I'm fortunate enough to have chest hair. It's not chest hair, but, it's chest hair. It's not a little bush tush, but it's a little bushy bush. It's that cute, like, oh my God, like puberty did me well. Well, most areas. I don't have hairy legs, but I do have an oddly hairy chest, and people are typically pretty surprised by it. Because, I'm a smooth sailor in skin. I have a good skin. And sensitive. I'm a sensitive skin boy. Jesus, Clint. Damn, my jokes have not been hitting well recently. Maybe I'm just not a funny guy anymore. Partially. Damn, that got sad. Anyways. But yeah, when you buy like body washes now $8-9 for a decent thing of body wash. Like if you buy shampoo, like think about it, if you buy like $6 shampoo, $7 body wash, $7, you just pay $22 just to put on your skin so you don't smell like shit. We have to pay just to not smell like shit. Look, I'm not someone that believes that we are entitled to smell and look good and all this shit for free. But I feel like that should just be that should be one of those human access things that we just should be that's human nature. Like we shouldn't have to pay for, it's weird because should we have to pay for water? I don't know. Maybe like shower water and stuff, like if you're just using an abundance amount of water, but like drinking water, like there should be just simple necessity. Now in America, we could find free access to shit. Like it's honestly not that hard. But, it's weird how someone has like water, cleaning stuff for your body. Why, should these things actually cost money? Or should they be free? Should they just be not that they do this anymore, but when you would go to the store and they would just have samples. Should it just be complimentary shampoos? I'm not saying it's got now if you want very expensive brand shampoo and shit like that, then yeah, you should pay for it. But if you just want basic shampoo, you want basic hand soap, shit that you could get at fucking McDonald's. And it's weird these hand soap places at these fucking weird fast food places are better than the ones you buy at the fucking store. It's foamy. It it lathers your skin really well. It's damn. That's the thing. Honestly, now that I think about it, I'm gonna get a hand soap where you just press the thing like you would at a public restroom. That's the one thing public restrooms got going. They've always got amazing hand soap. Crazy variety. You got the foam, you got the orange looking shit, the one that feels like it looks like hand sanitizer, but it cleans your skin really well. Not this bullshit, soft soap bullshit that we fucking get at the store, Or now it's you either get the most basic soft soap shit at Dollar Tree, or you pay $15 for Jessica Alba's cosmetic fucking cleaning shit for your body skin. Because, you gotta have a skincare routine now just to be mildly, excessively attractive to the eye. Because the standard is so insane these days, well, I don't have a skincare routine. I just shower well. I just know how to shower, baby. Talk about getting that shower head. Oh, even though that's actually very, like, when you think about, like, oh, Jesus, sorry, kids. When you think about, like, getting head in the shower, like, it's one of those things that sounds better than it actually ends up being, because water's getting in her face. You know, I guess you can adjust the water going away from you guys, but then you're not really showering. You're just in a dry bath area while water's splashing on the fucking wall. And you're not really showering. I guess still the steam's going up, and your self-esteem is going up too, because you're like, oh, yeah, this is really happening. And you're like Amanda Bynes, because it's all that. Chunky. Looking for them girls with the big old hoops, because they give the best head, and that's the truth. I wanna find out. But yeah, you know, like the whole thing, like sex in the showers. And I guess, like, there's a drink called Sex on the Beach. Like, sex on the beach, like, you know, I've never had sex on the beach, because, you know, I'm a child of God. I'm a virgin till marriage. But I just feel like sex on the beach would be highly kind of messy. I'm not saying like a sandstorm's going to happen. It's not like, you know, Aladdin or shit where you're on a rug, you know, you're on a towel and a dry, but, you know, sometimes little light breezes, you know, you get sand on your cheeks, and well, I'll be a sponge for your bob. And, oh, my pants will not be square. It'll just be one direction. I just feel like sex on the beach would be highly uncomfortable. I feel like sand would get in the cooch. Sand might get in your gooch. May even get in your booty hole. You know, get sand in your pee hole. Like, I mean, that's got to be a problem. Don't tell me that's not going to burn. Yeah, it just seems like one of those things, like, meh. It just seems like you can't really get a good grasp of the ground. Like, you're kind of uneven. Depending on what you're trying to do, you just kind of feel like your butt is sinking in. Like, let's say you're laying down the towel and she's on top. Like, your butt's just sinking into the towel in the sand. And let's say you're on top. Like, you know, like you're trying to gain control. You're trying to gain, like, balance on your knees. Like, your knees are going to cave in and you're going to be, like, all over the place. Like, ugh. I'm not talking about all over the place because you're doing freaky shit. I mean all over the place because you literally can't control all over the place, you know? And it's kind of like that in the shower, you know? I feel like if you were to get head in the shower, like, you know, someone's getting the short end of the stick. I'm not talking about just her. Oh, Clint, you're now. See, I'm coming back, baby. And special sponsor and guest for today is Ghost Sour Patch Blue Raspberry. Woo! But yeah, I wanna sex you up. But you know, yeah. Anyways, back to the main thing. I don't know where I was going with that. Should things like deodorant, body wash, shampoo, hand soap, should they be kind of what do they call, like, just necessities that should be free? Should they be free? Because it is insane to think about, like, a deodorant costing $7, and really it's still a good investment, because if you're using a product, it's going to last you a good while. If you apply it properly, you're going to smell good. It prevents you from smelling like shit, which can honestly, like, you know, pays off. You don't want to smell like shit, you know, for the ladies, for the people you work with, for the people that you just encounter. That, like, no one deserves to smell that. Like, most people, I honestly believe that most people don't really smell. Like, I believe a natural state, I believe in our natural state, we don't really smell. Like, I don't think I have a scent. But I notice with people in my life, I notice that there's a distinct scent that when you're around someone enough, when you smell, like, let's say you have their shirt, let's say it's a lady, or let's just say it's a friend or whatever. Everyone has a scent they develop over time. And I think that's based off a lot of things, their natural genetics, their oils in their skin. Like, people just have a scent, and you just know that scent when you smell. Like, if you have someone's shirt or you're around someone enough, I can't necessarily always describe what someone smells like, but I know it when I smell it. It's like when someone says someone has charisma. I like to use this example. Like, I don't actually know what charisma, the definition of charisma is. If someone asks me, what is charisma? I would be like, I don't know. But you know it when you see it. And that's kind of like it is with someone's scent. You know it when you smell it. So, charisma equals scent. And charisma, you smell like a lot of bullshit. Because honestly, that's really what a lot of charisma is. When you really break it down, it's a lot of BS. And I'm a guy with charisma. At different points when I'm really feeling good about myself type of thing, my charisma comes out. And I'm only comfortable saying that because I've been told, you're very charismatic, at certain points in my life. And I notice patterns of when that charismatic is really floundered, Not to get a little mermaid in here. Oh, Jesus. But being charismatic, it's beautiful having unquantifiable qualities that multiple people in unison say about you. Charisma is one of those beautiful things because it's a positive thing. It's something that people want to be around. It's enlightening. It makes people feel alive. It makes people feel comfortable. It makes people feel joy around you. But if you ask someone, what is charisma? Like, what do you see when you see charismatic? Most people would be like, I don't know, but it's just a feeling. And not to get, Ben Shapiro be like, all facts, no feelings. And in this case, not exactly. Like, this is where human emotion and kind of human behavior is kind of hard to, it's not everything is just about quantifiable facts. Because what's charismatic to one is not to another. What's a turn on to one is a turn off to another. That's just kind of the weird thing. Like, but typically there's, if you were to ask girls about a very specific guy who's very charming and charismatic, they will all probably say a lot of similar things. Someone who's the complete opposite, who's always down, and an Eeyore type of guy, like, none of them are going to say, wow, secretly, I think this guy, I think he's low-key charismatic. Like, it's not going to happen. Not to bring back the low-key attractiveness episode. But, I think, and that's the beautiful thing about unquantifiable qualities that don't necessarily have a specific definition, because we can always convince ourselves, depending on different points in our life or kind of just how we're evolving as people, like what that means to us at different stages in life. And what's charismatic, what we find charismatic at 20 can be different at 30 and 40 and so on and so forth. And sometimes you can meet someone and you think they're very charismatic, and then over time you realize, oh, I misinterpret that charismatic for a lot of other things that are quite the opposite of charismatic. And that's the thing about things like being charming and charismatic. It's the two C's, CC, and I'm not talking about pizza. I miss CC's pizza. CC's was always better than Stevie B's, but then CC's just like closed down, and they stopped. Like, you would go there and they would stop making the cool pizzas. They would stop making the mac and cheese, the taco pizzas, and Stevie B's just like, all right, well, we'll make some bullshit pizzas. I really want to go to Stevie B's now. I might go there this weekend. I'm going to Stevie B's. It's kind of like the end of the Super Bowl. It's like, we're going to Disney World. And here I am. I'm going to Stevie B's. She's still, as Lil Wayne say, she's Stevie be wondering. Or was that Andre 3000? I don't know. It was in the song The Real Her. You got that shit that somebody will look for and won't find. And for some reason, like the last 8 times I've been to Stevie B's, they will not make the fucking chicken fajita pizza unless you do it on request. I think now if you do request at certain all-you-can-eat pizza buffets, like, they'll charge you. The audacity, the charge on top of the charge for the buffet. That'd be like if you went to Golden Corral and you would go buffet and be like, hey, can I get a steak cooked? To be like, yeah, you have to pay extra for that. It's like, but then it's not an all-you-can-eat buffet. And I'm not getting what I paid for. Sorry if I want to eat more than just fucking barbecue, onion pizza, and pepperoni and bullshit meat lover bullshit pizza. Like, I don't need 3 different pizzas of ham and pineapple. Diversify your pizza. We're in such this everything's about diversity. Not when you go to these all-you-can-eat pizza buffets. Like, they limit the diversity over time. Not only do they put less pizzas out, but they put more of the same pizzas. Like, they barely even put the loaded baked potato. Like, maybe we'll just have, like, 1 loaded baked potato, and then, like, we'll sneak this type of pizza and this, and then just have the basic ass pizzas, the sausage, the cheese, the pepperoni. It's like, Anyway, sorry, went on a little tangent there. But yeah. What was I talking about? Holy shit, Clint, you're going off the rails. This is the Off and Beat podcast, so you go from talking about charismatic to all you can eat pizza. But yeah, no, that's the beautiful thing about, I wasn't talking about charismatic qualities in people. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just kind of continue back on the thing. Oh yeah, Cece's charming and charismatic. Okay, I'm starting to get it. But yeah, this kind of thing is that we can convince ourselves of so much bullshit, and you can, and honestly, like you can go online, and honestly, as a dude, I'm gonna be honest about this shit. You can legitimately go online and find out and literally kind of study human behavior, and you can just turn your way into a person that will attract certain people that could be easily gullible to bullshit. I mean, it's all over YouTube and shit. It's all these videos that I actually think are valuable in some ways, because it does kind of open your eyes to things if you're kind of lost in some type of vacuum of a world that is not rewarding you with what you want. So you're seeking answers of how come with what I'm doing I'm not getting the type of attraction I want. And I'm not just talking about with people like the opposite sex, the ladies. I literally mean just like anything in life that you want. You're not attracting what you actually think you are putting into something, But there's a lot of videos that are supposed to be self-help, that are supposed to be self-improvement, And it's, if you do this, women will be unattracted to you. Women do not like this, and this. And for the most part, yeah. I don't feel like it should take you watching a video to realize that girls don't like guys who bitch about shit. But if you had to watch it and find that out, maybe it's a wake-up call. And then it's not going to happen overnight for you to change things about yourself. But it does make you understand, like, why no one is throwing it back for you. But I think people got to be careful nowadays, because you got to be careful of who you're meeting, the type of people you're meeting, because there are a lot of people following a blueprint that ironically thinks that they're making themselves separate from the pack, but in reality, they are doing a lot with what everyone in that pack is doing, and they're not really standing out to the beholder's eyes, right? But in a weird way, as weird as that sounds, someone, it's kind of like the stat that 80 to 90% of women sleep with the same 15 to 20% of guys, right? And there's a lot of dudes out there that are not getting any or even attention and stuff. It's like the same 20% of guys that are getting most of the female attention. Because people are attracted to a lot of the similar stuff. Kind of like the charming, the charismatic thing. If you can make a girl laugh, if you got charm, if you're funny, if you got a true posture, masculinity, a confidence about you, a girl will always give you a time of day. That's just the way it is. You can always find the exceptions and stuff like that, but for the most part, a general rule, it's human nature. You can't fight human nature over time. I know we're living in this world where it comes to femininity and stuff like that, or feminism, which the ironic part is the whole feminism movement is that they're actually acting not very feminine, if you really see what's happening. And I'm not against it if that's who you are, stuff like that. But, people that are part of the feminist movement, like the way that's portrayed, like the movement, quote unquote, I'm not talking about actual femininity. I'm actually talking about like the movement, that when someone says I'm a feminist, in reality, they don't really embody feminist type of things. I always kind of find that kind of interesting and a little bit ironic. I don't know if ironic's the perfect term, but you get what I'm saying. It's crazy how I have no idea where I'm gonna start at the beginning of pod, but then I actually end up getting to some real shit. Just side note, I have a talent. But shit. Well, now that I said that, I forgot what I was talking about. 100%. It's just, you gotta. Oh yeah, you can't really fight human nature, and I think the problem is too many people want to be the exception to the rule instead of understanding how this stuff works. Like the stat I told you earlier, like it's pretty well known. It's the 80-20 rule, whatever. 80% of women sleep with the same 20% of guys. It actually may even be less than that, to be pretty frank about it. It doesn't mean that literally 80% of dudes don't have sex, but they aren't getting the attention or the frequency. Like, honestly, a girl would rather be with a guy or have a situation with a guy who she knows has other girls, or at least has a rotation, than be with a guy who she doesn't feel can get anything or doesn't really have much of a field. Because it is this competition of hierarchy. There's this competition between women where they want to win. They want to feel like, oh, I'm going to beat this other girl to this guy. Like, I'm going to win this prize type of thing. That's a real thing. And I know that sounds fucked up, but the more you think about it, it actually kind of does make sense. The problem is nowadays it seems like that's kind of getting turned. It seems like now guys are fighting to be in girls' phones. Which, look, the reality is, I hate to break, most people that you meet, I know you think off the bat you may be the only person they're talking to or the only person they have in their phone that they would consider in a capacity. They may be giving you a lot of attention and shit like that, but reality is, just know that they got guys or girls on the phone, depending on which side of the fence you're on, that at any moment, if they wanted to hook up, they could, and they would. Not saying they're going to act on it, but you got to understand that you are not the only realistic option. And now that these things are getting reversed a little bit, I think it really fucks up the mojo of dudes. A lot of dudes are they're either walking on eggshells with women, or they are doing the complete opposite, where they become very inconsiderate, and honestly, that's when you use women. That's when you become everything that is kind of shitty. When you start going down that path, when you start doing things to avoid hurt, or doing things to feel like you're empowered by using women's emotions and shit like that. And either extreme is never good. You should always be considerate, but also realistic with what's really happening. Taking a little intermission. But yeah, it's sorry, I had a little noise situation going on. But look, and I'm not like, I don't believe in giving relationship advice. I don't believe in giving advice about women, because there's a lot of things I've failed at in the past, but it's been trial and error. I've learned, and I just think what you realize with a lot of stuff is that it's not exactly cut and dry. It's not black and white. It's subjective, but it's got very objective qualities. Like, objectify women. Huh? Sounds actually pretty good. I don't know. God, this toenail is disgusting. But yeah. Look, you can either bitch about it or be about it, or you can't go against human nature regardless of everything that's kind of happening. Human nature is one of these things that there's a reason why it's human. There's a back and forth element. There's an actual gravitas that is necessary. And sometimes it doesn't make sense. No matter, like, the thing about nowadays, we want everything to have a rationale. We want everything to have a reason. We want everything to have an explanation. We need over explanation of things. And sometimes the beauty of it is that you can't do that. is that the more you try to explain it, the more confusing it gets. Because you catch yourself like, why do I like this? And you're like, I don't know. Like, if you're a kinky guy, if you're a kinky gal, like, people say kink shaming. It's like, I mean, you like what you like. You're into what you're into. I think the word, anytime we attach shame to something, it's kind of counterintuitive to what you're really getting at. Is that some people are just disgusting fucks. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with having a toe fetish, right? I wouldn't, look, if a girl told me she had a toe fetish for my toes, like, oh, I love disgusting toes. I love when the nail is just hanging off. I just want to bite it off. And I'm like, please don't. Like, I don't want the cool air breathing on my actual fucking skin nail. Like, it's like, It's like, I understand, like, a little pain may turn you on, but I'm in a lot of pain. And I'm not turned on. So please, stop. But anyways, no, shit. Back on the subject. But it's human nature. Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Ask, I don't know if Michael Jackson's the best person to be asking about human nature, because, pedophilia is in your human nature. There's some people that will try to make the case, and they would be called creeps and pedophiles. That would be like, hey, it's actually normal to be attracted to very young people. Young people are very youthful. They have full of life, and the older you get, the more life you lose, right? Even though technically you've lived more life. But, people try to make that case for when older dudes are with, like, have their eye on, like, 16 and 17-year-old girls. And some of them can't even wait till they graduate. Some just gotta have it. And I just asked them why. Why? I guess they didn't see the man in the mirror. I guess they just really wanted a thriller. Stick to a girl your own age, like Billie Jean. When Michael Jackson said, she told me her name was Billie Jean, she caused a scene, and she told me the kid was mine. He wasn't literally saying to actually pursue the kid. But some weird fucks will try to make the argument that, being attracted to young people, it's normal. It's normal for older dudes to want to be with a young gal. And they try to do this whole reproduction. Like, it's because of the value. And when a woman's 27, their value decreases because every year you live, your fertility goes down. It's like, okay. And so do you. You realize that the older dudes get, they can't really, stuff typically stops working as well. Like, yes, you can have kids when you're 40 and 50, but then you're bringing kids into this world with 30-year age gaps, and their kid is going to be like, what the fuck? And then that's going to fuck them up for their perception or their kind of perceive of how they deal with people. And it creates this manipulative pattern. And that is not human nature. Because the issue with when people try to use human nature to justify weird, creepy behavior and just weird predatory shit is that it opens the line for complete BS justification for anything. Because then anything that is just your individual preference or whatever is now human nature. It is normal to want to fuck your son, your stepson. It's like, it's normal to be attracted to your child. It's like, no, it's normal to love your child, not love your child. Okay? Actually, I would prefer you just hate your child than to do that shit. You know? Hating your child can at least have some benefits down the road, They get payback, when they get older. But if you love your child, there's not, that does not make them a normal person when they grow up. It does not. There's almost no instances where some mom or some dad fucked their kid and they grew up and were like, you know what? It was in the past and, I'm a complete better person. No, they're dealing with some shit, even if things have worked out for them. They are not the same person. They probably have some weird kinks. Every person that had these extreme fetishes and kinks, I really believe were probably incest or parent weird shit. They're just unbalanced people. They have unbalanced beliefs and they have unbalanced ideas for kind of how they go about it. And then that's when you get the rationale, because from a young age, they've had the rationale and deal with that shit. And that is not human nature. That is self-inflicted. People got their problems and then they made it your nature because of their human inadequacies and because you were very impressionable. That's kind of the weird shit with age gap shit that I always kind of get iffy about. But yeah, no, anyways, back to... Look, all I gotta say is you gotta be careful with these unquantifiable qualities. Because it's complete. It could be the most complete fallacy bullshit you will come across. Because I've done it. I've charmed a few people into, smiling when they shouldn't have. And sometimes when you do that, there's this false sense of type of trust and security they feel with you. And you knew that it was all just to be impressionable. And when they realize that's not really how you are all the time, then they're confused about what they just got themselves into. It's like, me too. Movement. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, Ray J. So, Ray J wants to... Apparently he's coming after the Kim K. Kardashian type of shit, which is kind of weird how... Coming out of the woodworks with this shit. They talk about... he talks about her so much, you would think they had a kid together. Which I don't know, according to the video, they may have. Jesus. I guess he had one wish, and he didn't get it from her. Kim Kardashian, and it's weird because in that one sketch she did play a genie, or she didn't play Genie, but she played Jasmine in that Aladdin sketch, and with Pete Davidson. And, well, we know he rubbed that genie in a bottle. I'm not talking about Christina Aguilera. But, it's just, it just seems a little bit unnecessary at this point. I don't get, yeah, she has a lot of fucking money. So, you know what? If he wants to sue 12 years later for what? Tarnish your name. It's like, Ray J, you tarnish your name by, your last album. You put your name on your last album and that shit was garbage. That's how you tarnish your name. Not off this tape 12 years ago. Oh, well, they use men. It's like, yeah, you knew that. It's it's the least surprising thing. They use men so much that her dad was like, hey, I don't want to be used. So he became a woman. I honestly do believe that. I know this is gonna sound fucked up, but I honestly don't believe he actually wanted the transition. I don't think Bruce wanted to be Caitlyn because there was no signs he ever felt like a woman. And kind of like now that I think about it, I don't know if it was probably like a satanic, like a satanic ritual type of shit, Hollywood type of thing. I don't know if it was something like that, but he does have a history, I think, of being Scientology, which I think they're actually against, but I wouldn't be surprised if just being a part of that fucks up kind of your view of shit. But I honestly do believe that he did that to like prove a point. I do believe he got paid like millions and millions and millions of dollars to make that transition. And I don't think he actually got the surgical removal. I just think he did like the enhancements and stuff. Like you could do fillers in the boobs and stuff without it being like, it could be temporary type of shit. But I feel like it's more of like a real life action play that's going on. Because it doesn't make sense. There was no real signs of him wanting to be a woman. There was no qualities in the show that would say like, hey, I think this person's kind of trying to, go to the other side. I never felt that. And I'm starting to feel, as time goes on that I think there was some weird cover up. I believe he had to do it off blackmail type of shit. I really believe if he didn't do it, he would have been exposed for something. And that's kind of a way that when people hold stuff over you, they can make you do whatever. And some people want to demean you and kind of want to make you feel that someone has a power over you when they know stuff about you. And I believe someone knew stuff about him in power, like kind of similar to Epstein with all the secret recordings of, well, it's kind of weird called secret recordings when you're at someone's house and they have all this fucking money and shit. And they have all this prostitution escorts of young girls and grooming and shit. And they're like, hey. And then like, oh no, she's 19. Then get in there. Actually, she's 14. By the way, we record her all. So now you do everything I want. You're going to donate all the fucking money to me and anything I want you to do. Or otherwise, this is going to the public and your life is fucked. And apparently, by the way, someone told me Victoria's secret is that Victoria is not a woman. I feel like that's a bit of a reach. But apparently, that's kind of... Victoria is supposed to be... It's not a man or a woman. It's supposed to be like a non-binary trans. I don't know. I don't know the right term. Don't ask me. But the secret is that Victoria is not a woman. That's the secret. I was like, all right, Teen Titans, let's go. I think that's the girl. I think that's the purple girl off Teen Titans, Victoria. Sounds like it. But yeah, I just believe that it's too random and weird to make that drastic decision at that age to want to be a woman. And I'm supportive of it. Like, I'm not against it or nothing, but I can hypothesize the reasons. I do think he was blackmailed into some. I think someone has something on him that's like very, very damning. And if they were to find out in their way of kind of feeling like you control someone, it just goes to show when people have stuff on you, people will do just about anything to make sure that stuff doesn't come out. And I think we're all like, we wouldn't want certain stuff come out, and we would probably pay, or we would concede to giving advances to make sure those things come out. don't come out. Like, are you telling me that Deshaun Watson, if he could have, now he could have paid, but stuff probably would have came out anyways because, but you're telling me if he would have had to, for this stuff not to come out, all these allegations and woman and shit like that, like situations, obviously some weird shit happened regardless of what you think happened. Or with Brett Favre. Actually, that's a better, Brett Favre. With this welfare shit where he basically using money that's supposed to be for the welfare system, people in need. The dude who's probably the richest person in Mississippi is using people's welfare money to build a fucking volleyball stadium, to improve volleyball facilities because his daughter goes to a college or whatever, to improve the volleyball facility. Instead of using, and it's not like, and it was like a couple $1 million to improve the facility. It's like, if you cared about the volleyball shit so much, you could have just like done a fucking GoFundMe or a charity with your name attached, and people probably would have donated a good amount of fucking money. And then you could have covered the rest. And I'm not saying he should have spent shitload of money, because he played at a time where, yes, quarterbacks still made money, but it's not the exorbitant amount as these days. So, yeah, $2 million is a little bit different, especially when he's been retired for some time. You're assuming he doesn't have it like that, right? To just give away $2 million like that, you know? He's not going to recuperate it next year. But you're telling me if to not make this stuff come out, he would have, admitted to being, admitted something very damning about himself? If someone like had a virtual gun to his head and like, if you don't want this shit coming out that may tarnish your name and how people look at you, because this looks really fucking bad. Like, really bad. Now, in the grand scheme of things, he'll probably get fined and shit, and life will go on, and people have done a lot worse off the field. As weird as that may sound, as bad as it may sound. There's people that have murdered people. There's people that have had beaten their wives and all this shit. Like, Brett Favre is a weird guy. He's had promiscuity, sending dick pics to the reporters. And now that reporter is like a prominent NFL reporter, which is kind of weird that the situation probably propelled her name, because her name was used in like the documents when that whole shit was happening. And like he said, it's weird how playing for the Jets, he's like, hey, let me just send my dick to this reporter. What could possibly go wrong? It's like, what could possibly go right is actually the better question, Brett. What could possibly go right? Hey, you want to see the wrangle in my Wranglers? I got all you can zip jeans. I got all you can rip pants. If you get what I'm saying. But you're telling me if now maybe he would. I don't think Brett I don't think he would. He's a guy that's probably for people that switch their genders, or even probably that community. I'm just gonna go on a limb. I don't think Brett Favre is going to be going out there to any of the LGBTQ rallies anytime soon. Just going out on a limb there. But you're not telling me that he would have, in a way to demean him, like wore something he shouldn't have, like wore like a weird dress in public? And I was actually discussing this with someone, because we were it was like weeks or a month ago or so. And it had a lot to do with how Hollywood and TV shows and movies, they'll have men dress up in dresses as a way to feminize them and kind of make them, kind of demean them. And they used to, typically what they would mainly do it with black actors, like in sitcoms. Jamie Foxx is a great example of, when you look at, like, it's what they do is kind of like Dennis Rodman. Like, I believe that part of his fame attachment is, I think he was paid to act like that. Because in college and stuff, he was not into all that. Yes, fame can change you, but I believe he was actually, like, kind of paid and swayed in that direction to dress and all that stuff, to kind of popularize and kind of normalize that. And they used to actually do that to kind of feminize men, but specifically in cases, black men. So, as a way to still demean someone. And as a dude, any way that they could try to demean you, to try to make you hold a power over you and make people look at you less than, in a way, once people can do that, like, it's hard for people to look at you any other way. And I was talking with this about, because we were talking about Hollywood and satanic shit. And, typically, like, I'm a little, like, I do think it happens, but I'm not, like, I don't think it happens as much. But I do think there are examples of, like, oh. And I'm not religious, so it doesn't, like, hit a spot with me, like, oh, you get the crosses out. But when you see stuff like that, really see what's happening. It's subtle ways to let people, really, when you look at it's Hollywood is this I'm picking you. Everyone wants to be chosen. And when you want to be chosen, you're in a desperation type of mode. Because you are really relying on people liking you. And they got to have incentive to want you to be part of their thing. And sometimes when you get people in those powerful positions, hence Harvey Weinstein shit, you get people that can take advantage of that. And when you got people that are in great powers of position, and then people that want to be chosen by those people in powers of position, that's when you get the subtle things that you see on screen to demean them. So from that point forward, they can always have some they hold over them. And as a way in life, they kind of generalize it, and top, like, my view of life is that the second you let someone have if you let something or someone have power over you, whether that's, and I always use money. Like, I've made the choice to not let money decide how I move. But when people want to be chosen so bad, and they kind of lose themselves along the way, but they want to be chosen out of desperation just to feel loved or admired or respected. Once you do that, it's really hard to go back, because once people see you in a weakened position, it's really hard for them to see you it's really hard for them to look at you in any stronger view than that ever. No matter what you do, you can do everything. You can make yourself the most stronger person, physically, mentally, emotionally. You're unbreakable, unbearable, but they still see that, I know if I can get to you, I can get to you. Because you were so desperate for something. So, yeah. All right. Wow. That was a lot to breathe in there. Sorry for the weird gaps in this episode. I was hearing a lot of stuff and it threw me off. But glad you guys stayed. All right, guys. That was episode 170 of the Off and Be podcast with Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. And have a great day whenever this is posted. So, yeah. I'm lost without you. Can't help myself. How does it feel? to know that you smell really fucking bad. With that speed stick.